What time is it, my creatives? That's right, it's photo hacking time. And today we're going to be discussing if you go to the community tab of the YouTube page, see it's right here. You can see the request here in the communication from me. So I asked, hey guys, what video do you want to do next? And we have Janelle, and I'm not even going to try to butcher her last name. I'll just call her Jelena and she wants to know the process of designing a wedding invitation and how long it takes. So that's what this video is ultimately going to be about. So let's get into it. So first things first is the sizing. So many people want to get right into designing, but first things first, you want to know what type of size that you're going to be working with. Of course, the smallest size that you're dealing with is going to be the cheapest. If you're going to put in an envelope, are you going to use a blank envelope, or are you going to design the envelope yourself? Now, typically, the custom design is the A7, I believe. That's the most traditional, which is this standard size. And so most non-designers don't know what A7 means. That actually means just 5 by 7. It's just like the European, I guess it's European sizings for dimensions for invitations and envelopes. Now, first thing I want to point out is that before you start committing to a design and a size, also remember that each printing company, and I don't care what company that you use, they never have the same sizing. For example, if you use Vistaprint, which is the most horrible printing company that you could use, and I don't recommend it, if you print anything like, say, for 5'7", there's always something being cut off, no matter like how well you measure it to a T. And so like each printing company, I noticed that they don't really line up. So what I like to do is I like to go to the company itself, and I like to go ahead and, like, I personally love Overnight Prints. It's a good company, but I use a variation of printing for different things. Like, for example, Overnight Prints is really great for flyers, for invitations, and for business cards. Other stuff, it gets a little bit more expensive, but they're really, really great quality, and they turn out really, really nice. So I just love this company. I'm not affiliated with them or anything. I don't have any type of relationship with them. I've just used them before, and when I was going to college, this was what was recommended by my professor, so I've used it ever since. So how you find the dimensions is you look for what you're trying to, like, basically do, and you go, what I do is I go to all products, and you could see here, I hate these like drop down menus, they are always moving, and then you go to invitations, okay, and that will bring you to here. Now here they're going to try to sell you like pre-made content here, but what you want to do is you want to click on upload info and start files, and then you can see here they have 5x5 8.5 stationery, and these are the different dimensions. So they use something totally different than an A7. And then what you could do is they give you the 5x5 5x5 times 8.5 inch stationery Photoshop PDSD or whatever, and then you download it. And then you bring that into Photoshop, okay? And that's how you know where you have your bleed and stuff like that, okay? So that's how I do it. So it's lined up perfectly, because if you just wing it, you see here I have a totally different size, even though that's the standard A7. Overnight Prints has a totally different model of what they have for their standard invitation sizes. So just keep that in mind. Now, once you have the size and everything, it becomes easy peasy from there, okay? So this little dotted area, like this line here, I'm just going to zoom in here. Let's see, get my little... You don't want to design anything past this line, okay? So that is where the printer is going to cut off. And as long as you design within those lines, you should have a perfect design, okay? So the second hardest part of this whole process of designing a wedding invitation and how long it will take is exactly what ideals you're running with. So most weddings are themed based. So let's say, for instance, if you have a country boho themed wedding, then you're going to want to design your invitations around that. So you're going to want creamy colors, earth tone colors, you know, stuff like that. So if your whole, you know, excuse me, wedding theme is floral, then you're going to want to center that around floral. If your colors are pink, whatever. So you need to understand like what your theme is. If you don't have a theme, come up with a theme and then create a color scheme. Now, what I like to do before I start designing something is that I will go to Pinterest to get ideals. So here you can see, if you type in wedding invitations, there's tons of wedding invitations to get inspiration from. So this is really pretty. I love this. And this is something really, really easy to replicate. I'm just going to go ahead and click on that. And this is something that's already being sold on Etsy. So, I mean, so depending on the complexity and the skill set that you have would determine how long it would take to create this wedding invitation. So for me, this will probably only take me 5 minutes to recreate because it is such a simple design. Now, someone else with a lower Photoshop skill set than me, it would probably take them a lot longer. So what you have to decide is this. Are you skilled enough to do this yourself, or do you need a professional? Because believe me when I tell you, print is not the easiest thing. I think that printing stuff is probably the hardest thing in graphic design versus like, I don't know, web, because the colors, you have to have the right monitor, you have to have the right equipment. For example, I had this customer who was very upset because his monitor didn't show the same colors that my monitor did. And I explained to him that his monitor probably isn't calibrated. It might be an old monitor or something like that. And so the way that you are seeing colors may not be the same as mine, because I have a freaking $600 monitor that is pre-calibrated. So, I mean, with that, you have to keep that kind of stuff in mind. The skill set of the person or individual doing it is going to be a lot quicker than, say, someone who has no idea how to do this at all and they're just winging it. Once you find a design you like, you bring it into Photoshop, okay? And what you're going to do is to just basically mimic this color scheme. You're going to sample this with the eyedropper tool, okay? So I'm going to take that color right there, click on it, and then add to swatches, and we're going to name this the wedding invitation color scheme. Now, usually color schemes for just different themed items usually have less than 5 colors. So, no, we already added that. So we have the gold, and I'm not going to add the gold in here because I actually have a gold style that I'm going to use. I'm going to use one of my my packs in my shop, and I'll go ahead and leave the link below. And so we have this color here, this like beige color, and I'm going to add that to swatch, wedding invitation swatch 2. Okay, and then this color, I'm gonna make it a little bit lighter, and then I want to see what swatches we have so far. Okay, we didn't get the pink. I thought we did. All right, so I'm gonna grab that swatch and go ahead and add it. So wedding swatch, so we have that. And then I want to add this like cream from the flowers, but I like to go a little bit lighter. Yeah, there we go. And I'm going to add that to swatches, and then wedding swatch. swatch. Can I spell that right? All right, so there we have that. And then I want to just grab this little pink here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we have that, and then we have the gold. Now we don't necessarily have to use all of these colors, but what we're going to do is that we're basically creating a guide. So like we're not all over the place, because when you're organized and you have like a guide on what you can and what you can't do, then that makes the design process a lot simpler. So right now we know that we only have these colors that we can use, and plus gold. So that narrows it down, so that way we're not overwhelmed with using every color palette on Earth. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to find a script font that's similar to this, and then also a serif font to use as the text. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm in main type, and I'm using a font manager, and I did a video on main type, and this is definitely something that you need to have in your arsenal if you're going to be designing invitations or stuff like that. It's very helpful because it allows you to see what you're designing before putting it and wasting your time and putting it into your design, which is a little bit tedious. So what I did here is, instead of using Amelia and Daniel, because we don't want to copy this like so much, you know what I mean? Like, we just want to just take some ideals from it, not really like 100% copy it. Okay, so what you do is you type up here. I'm going to be using Anna and David instead of the name that's already in the example file. Excuse me. And then you can just go through here, scroll, and then you can check all the ones that you like that look pretty good. Like, I love this one. This is Adora Bell Slant. That looks really good. Okay, Adora Bell Slant. I think I'm already in love with that. And I think I'm going to use that in the design process. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to go back to your design and create a new layer. Okay. And then we're going to lock the bottom layer and turn it off. Okay. Then I'm going to select this layer, and then I'm going to just press Control-Delete to fill it. Okay. So you know that you have these guides here, all right? And you know that you're not to design outside of these guides. And you can make sure that the guides are locked by going to View and, let's see, Lock Guides. So you don't accidentally touch them and move them, okay? And then you want to get to your swatches. You go to Window, Swatches to see them here, but I have them already over here. So go back to your layers, and then so we're trying to create a similar design like this. Okay, so how do we achieve that? All right, so what you want to do is you want to create a new layer and fill the background with the color that we created from the swatches, which is the EOD 77, and then create a duplicate layer from there. You can create your own marble effect, or you can use an action to do so. For the sake of the time of this video, I'm just going to use an action. So I have these actions that I got off Creative Market, and I just press play. And there is the marble. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little arrow to extend it, and then I'm going to just uncheck the white. So it just leaves me with this, you know, I would say like mauve marble-ish type background. So it doesn't look exactly the same, but it still looks pretty fetch. So I like it. So now we're going to create the border. All right. So I'm thinking that this border is about, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches. I'm not really sure. So you know that it's going to get cut off right there. So what I'm going to do is, actually I need to create a new layer. Okay. And I'm going to just, I'm going to create one. No. I want to create a new layer above this layer. So let me close this thing here. All right, so if you want to create a layer above a folder layer, you have to close it first. Okay, so this is going to be border, so I'm just going to double click in there and name it border. And now what you do is you take your marching ant square tool, and then you're just going to drag it around the edges. And then you're going to go to edit define stroke. So we're probably thinking that, and it doesn't matter what color you choose. I'm going to choose outside. And for now, because I don't really know how many inches we need, I'm just going to say 8 pixels at first. And it didn't do anything. So we'll try it again. Sometimes Photoshop is quirky. That's so weird. I'm going to try again and use a brighter color because I think that it's not like large enough. So I'm going to go really much higher. I'm going to go to stroke. I'm going to use like a neon green so I can actually see it. And I'm going to use inside. And I'm going to just put 20 right now to see how that works. Okay, so I'm going to press Control Z, so that's not enough. Let's see if I use outside instead. No, that doesn't do anything at all. So we're going to go to Edit Stroke, use inside, and then now let's do 40, see how that works. Okay, so this is still cutting off, so let's press Control Z. Let's do Edit Stroke. Let's do 60, see how that works. Nope, it needs to be a little bit larger. I'm going to do 70. Edit, stroke, 70. Now remember, this whole edge right here is going to be cut off. Okay, so we're only dealing with what's inside here and this line. So, I mean, 70 is a pretty thin line, but it's hard to tell with this how it goes, but I think that is pretty good. We could make it a little bit bigger. I'm going to press Control Z and then just go with 80, stroke. See how that works. So that looks pretty thick. And then we can add a style to it. So I have all these styles, and if you want these styles, I'll tell you where they're from. You can actually get this set in the Pueblo Abstract Kit, which actually really goes well with the theme that we're doing right now. It comes with all these cool pre-made designs. You have instruction kit. You have all of these brush strokes and these watercolor strokes, watercolors in gold. It comes with and without. You have hand-drawn line art, gold overlays, all of this stuff that comes with it. And then you get all of these cool gold styles, plus more. You get transparent overlays, and it includes the Pueblo Photoshop brushes, so you can paint gold flakes and gold watercolor, gold foil, all kinds of cool stuff. You even have textured painters and watercolor brushes and all of these gold elements. It's filled to the brim with stuff. Recycled paper backgrounds, overlays, and just more and more. There's just like so much stuff in here. You can go ahead and check it out either at creativemarket.com or at photohacklovers.com, wherever you would like to purchase. I do get more of a cut on my own site, so just keep that in mind. But anyways, I digress. So you're just going to come in here and just pick a style. I really like this gold style. You can go through the mini styles here and pick one that suits your needs. That's like a really bright, shiny gold, so we could try to find something that is like that. So I'm just going through here. And then we have the gold fancy styles, which are like $2 on my site. You can use those as well. So we have those here. And if you want to create them bigger, you can actually change the scale here, which creates like an even bigger size style here. And what you can also do is you can add colors. Hold on, I'm going to go back here and I'm going to sample this color. This is how you come close to the gold. So I'm going to sample this color here and this color here. All right, so we're going to go back in here and try to change this foil here, the color, I guess. Go to color overlay and whoopsies. Let me move this style swatches out of the way so I can get to that color. Okay, so go back to color overlay, and then we're just going to choose that color. And so I'm going to use the color burn on there, and then I'm going to use another color overlay because you can stack these. So I'm going to create another one, and then I'm going to choose this one. And this one is going to be a linear dodge. Okay. And so that basically takes the color away, and the color burn brings the color back in. And then you can move the pattern around and see how you like it. I'm not really liking that particular style pattern, so I'm going to go back in and I'm going to find a different pattern, or what do you call it? Gold style. So I like that better. Okay. So this one matches a little bit better with that, I think, personally. And so you have the colors here in color overlay. Hold on, let me move this. The color overlay. You can choose that color and then do the color burn and go all the way down to about 17%, press OK, and then go choose the layer and then stack the color overlay. Just press the plus button, add the creamy color, and then choose linear dodge. And that should brighten it up quite a bit and just make it more sparkly like it is in the other one. Now remember, this is not going to print anything besides that line. So this just little gold trim right here is what's going to print. So that's all you need to know about that. So let me go ahead and get my, no, I didn't mean to do that. Okay, so the hand tool, you can use the space bar and hold it down, and then, but if you have your marching ant selected, of course you can't do anything, so you have to press Control D and take your space bar, and you can move around said you know, the panel here. All right, so we're going to go back to our font manager and go look and see the font that we wanted to use, Anna and David, which is Adorabella Slant. So go back to Photoshop and we're going to just type out Anna and David. So I had to pause for a minute because my Photoshop freezed up because there's a font called Free Brush Script, and it always freezes Photoshop, and it's because people use this stupid extension manager, the font self maker, to create fonts, and it doesn't like those fonts. Photoshop does not like those SVG fonts. So some of them that are poorly designed will make your Photoshop freeze. So guys, I went ahead and created a custom gold for you while I paused the video. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that style in the description below, so that way you have a free gold style that you can use at least. So in order to change the text here, we're going to choose Anna and David. I'm going to go to these styles here and choose the new style I just created. So I created this new gold style here. And let's go back here. Let's check that out. So now that I've created the custom gold for you guys, I'm going to go back in and I'm going to find the serif font. So I have all of my serif fonts organized here, and I'm going to choose You Have Been Cordially Invited. I think that's how you spell it. And I'm just going to choose something from here. Something that looks elegant. I don't know. I think I like Bodini MT. That's a really good, it looks professional and it stands out. You Have Been Cordially Invited. So that one is already in Photoshop. So I'm going to type it here. And to create a paragraph in Photoshop, you just drag out the type. So I'm going to type, You have been cordially, oops. And I'm just going to put Bodini, okay, there we have. All right, I'm just going to press Control A and delete to get all of that out. Okay, so I want to put it on caps. You have been cordially invited. And I'm going to take this down to about 24. See how that looks. There we go. And if you want to center this, you can press Control A, and then up here at the top there is this little thingamajiggy that looks like a sign, and you just click it and it centers it right at the top. If you want to center in the middle, you're going to click this one. So that's how you align it. You press Control, you select the type, you press Control A, and then you click that little doohickey there. So you can change the color of the type by just, highlighting it here. All right, You have been cordially invited, and then I'm going to just press Shift Enter and then type To the Wedding of with the colon, and we're going to use the little colons here to separate, and then I'm going to move the styled text here up And you can use shift arrow keys down to like move it around if it's not like this. I'm recording at the same time I'm doing this, so it's like really slowing up. And then you press Control A once again to center it in the middle to make sure that it's centered. And if you want to add like a color to this, like a different color, you can select it all. Of course, I like that color, but if you wanted to use part of your color scheme and, you know, make that a different color. And boom, there you go. So you've been cordially invited to the wedding of Anna. And I really don't like this font now that it's here. So I'm going to go in and change it. So I'm using the font, where is it? Abia Libre regular, and I think it's free off of Font Squirrel. So I guess we'll leave a link to the description below. And then I'm using the 4th gold and the Pueblo Abstract Design Kit. So I'm using that one. So now you want to make the and sign. So I'm going to use the same font as the top. So I'm just going to make the and sign. So you just press shift and then press Control T to make it a lot larger. And then I've made a custom style from the top, which I will give to you guys too as well. And that is the and sign there. And then to center it, you're going to press Control A and then just center align it so that everything is centered up. And then this is going to be very simple to duplicate Anna. You're going to select Anna and then press Alt and then drag down. And then you're going to take your type tool and then select Anna and then just change it to David. Whoopsies, I had my caps lock on. Make sure your caps lock is not on. So David. So Anna and David. And to center that, you're going to press Control A and then just center it in the middle. So now it's like perfectly centered. And so if you see the space between the and David, it's not really lined up. So I'm just going to move the and down a little bit. Whoopsies. I'm going to select it and just could not nudge this like with okay, whatever. So if that happens, you can press Control T, Control D, Control T, and then you can nudge it that way. Sometimes Photoshop is gay and it doesn't let you do things. I don't know why. All right, and press enter. So now that looks pretty centered. It looks pretty even. So you have been cordially invited to the wedding of Anna and David. And then if you want to use RSVP using the same and symbol, you can do let's do caps, RSVP. And of course that is way too large. So we're going to press Control T and we're going to shift click and bring it on down. Bring it on down to Gingerville. So we have RSVP. Now some people like to put dots in between it, but that's your own personal preference. And just press Control A, center it. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Okay, you don't want to center it in the middle. You just want to center it, you know what I mean. All right, you want to center it horizontally is what I'm trying to say. All right, so now that you have the base here, then you're going to put the address down here and all that jazz. So, of course, I don't have like an address because I'm not really in a wedding. So I'm just going to put 211 Dunn Street. And Orlando, Florida. This is really tiny, so you're gonna have to select that to affect it, and then put, yeah. So I could see that I had my caps on again. 211 Dunn Street. Whoopsies. Orlando, Florida, 44567. I don't really know if that's an address or not. I'm just, you know, doing any old address, so that just pops in my head. Okay, press Control A, and then we're going to horizontal center align it. And I'm just going to press Control D, and then I'm going to press the arrow key up to get the address there. And then we're going to duplicate that by pressing the Alt key and dragging it down. And then we're going to put a phone number here, 813.455.6678. And then we're going to put also an email address. So most people who get married have the most cringe thing where they have like an email address together or a Facebook address together. And for me, that just makes me want to vomit. But if that's something that you do, I mean, just do what you do. Anna, and I'm sorry, I'm a highly cynical person and I just hate lovey-dovey stuff. I'm like pretty dark. I shop at Hot Topic. I'm basically a vampire person, so anything about love makes me uncomfortable. So that's why I've never done these wedding invitations before. So, I mean, I'm married and stuff, but I'm like totally mean to my husband. Anna and some guys like the abuse. Anna, and I don't think that you can put an and symbol in an email, so I'm just going to put Anna and David. Or you could put Anna, let's say capitalize that, Anna and David at gmail.com, because most people have gmail.com. Alright, so then you could copy this style if you wanted to, or you could leave it pink. I actually think that it looks really good in that mauve color, and it's really following our swatch colors scheme here. So the next thing I wanted to do to liven this up a little bit, so I have this background that I got off the internet, and it's really poorly vectorized. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to select color range and then just select the darker parts and put the fuzziness to 119 and press OK. And then I'm going to Control C that, go back to my wedding invitation, create a new player, and press Control V. Okay. So then I have this like ink outline here, but I don't want to keep that because you could see it was really ugly, like vectorized. And I'm going to get my selection tool and press Control T, and I'm going to shift click it to make it a little bit bigger. Yeah. Right there, like that. But I am going to put it in the background underneath all this stuff. So it's going to go under the border section here. Okay? Come on. Okay, so it finally went under. So now that it's under, we can change the color of it. So you can do a color overlay. I want to get my swatches out. Okay, go to Window, Layers. Here we go. We have this here, and I pulled my swatches over here. So I want to select this layer so I can do a color overlay. And I'm going to select this color from the swatches here. And I'm going to... Okay, that looks pretty. I like that. But I think it's a little bit too pink. So we can just put down the color a little bit. And that looks really... Wait, that's too much. I think there's a little bit of a delay since I'm recording and I have like so many things open right now. Let me try using the scale 50 and then pressing OK. So that looks really good. So I really like that. And you could do the top and the bottom to make it really stand out. So how you do that is you would just duplicate this layer. And then you would go to Image, Adjustments, no, Edit, Transform, Flip Horizontal. And then press Ctrl T. See. Select it to affect it, press Ctrl T, and then move that up to the top. Just like so, because you don't want it to be too much. You don't want it to be like too overwhelming there. And then press Enter. And then what you're going to do is you're going to click the mask tool there, and then you're going on that same layer and you're going to take make sure that you have black selected in the foreground. You're going to take a pencil or like the brush tool and get a regular brush. So if you don't have your legacy brushes open, you can go to legacy brushes. Restore the light. Yes. So when you go down here, all of your legacy brushes are here. And you want to go to basic brushes and get like no, I said default. Yeah, a soft round. Yes. All right. And so, and just use the right bracket key to make it bigger. And if you can't see your brush, press the caps key. Sometimes it hides it. I don't know why. Whoopsies. Where is my layers at? Okay, so we're doing the mask. We're not painting. What the hell did I press? Okay. Sometimes when you accidentally press something, whoops, things happen. I must have hit a key and I don't know what I hit. So I'm just gonna undo what I did. So it's the best thing about Photoshop is you can make mistakes. Okay, so now that I have it back, I'm going to make sure that that layer is selected, and I'm going to hit the mask tool. Then I'm going to get my brush tool here. Make sure I have it selected. And then now I'm going to mask out the parts that I don't want. So sorry about that. Sometimes Photoshop can be quirky. So you can do the same thing on the bottom if there's like these like spots here that you don't want. You can select this and mask this out as well. There we go. So that is how you make an invitation. And if you want to like further this, you can lower the opacity on the brush and just make that lighter so it blends into the marble. You know what I'm saying? To create that like realistic effect. So that's how you create a wedding invitation. Now this has taken us a total of 45 minutes. Most of it was explaining to you. I could probably do this a lot faster if I'm not recording. Of course, while I'm recording, my computer does slow down a little bit because of the recording. You can also add, you know, different stuff in here, sparkles, flowers, just different stuff, but you don't want to make it too busy. And also, just so you know, the more stuff that you add, the more it's going to cost to print it. So just keep that in mind. Keep your invitations simple. They look really pretty and stuff like that. You can also copy this design by just copying and pasting the styles into like your, like if you have an envelope that you're making, or you're making like a whole matching set, like cards for your tables and stuff. So you can just basically copy this design throughout, and it doesn't take a whole lot of effort. Like once you create the master file, like how I've created, then you can copy and paste that to all of your other files by creating like styles or patterns or whatever like that. Like how I have these, I created these custom styles, and then when you save this out as a PSD, those styles are going to be saved into the design as well. So I really hope this helps, and I hope that you guys benefited from this video, and thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.